Yes, equal, the same, right. So today we're going to talk about congruent triangles, which basically just means all their matching parts are the same. So in geometry, if a figure can be mapped, so if you can put them on top of each other is a way to think of it, and they are congruent if and only if all their matching parts are the same. So in a triangle, you'd have to have 3 pairs of congruent angles and 3 pairs of congruent sides. So they kind of feel like you're writing maybe a lot, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. Writing a lot, but we always teach you the hard way first, and we'll teach you a shortcut. So after today, I'll teach you some shortcuts so it's not so this is equal to this is equal to this. It'll just be quicker. But just know that things are congruent if and only if all their parts match up, okay? That's what makes them congruent. Think about identical twins. Yeah. Sure. Okay, so the definition of a congruent polygon, like I said, is all their parts have to match, right? So in our picture here, we just have to list out what goes with what. And it's easy to tell by our markings. You guys remember those tick marks, those archy marks? They tell us things are the same. So if I look over here, angle A is congruent to what angle in that other triangle? H, right? 2 archy marks for 2 archy marks. Yep. So angle H. Now we just keep going, right? Angle B is congruent to what angle? J. Yep. And then angle C is congruent to angle. Beautiful. So we have our 3 pairs of angles that all match up. Now we gotta check our sides. So segment AB has 1 tick mark. What has 1 tick mark over here? HJ, yep. Or JH, same thing. Doesn't matter. Okay, not angle. Segment BC has 2 tick marks. Which one has 2 tick marks on our other triangle? JK or KJ. Perfect. Put your little segment bar on top. Then our last one, AC is congruent to? KH. Right. So now that we have 3 pairs of congruent angles and 3 pairs of congruent sides, we can finally say that these 2 triangles are congruent. So we can finish out this congruency statement. So they're telling us triangle ABC is congruent to what triangle? But now you just have to match the order. So what matches A? H. Yep. What matches B? J. And then what matches C?
Okay.
Right. So the order of that matters. So that kind of tells you what goes with what. If you were given a picture, you would be able to figure it out based on that congruency statement. So kind of like a lot of writing, right? But again, I'm teaching you the long way before I teach you the shortcut later in the week. Okay? So now we're going to practice the same idea on these guys. Okay? So they want us to list out all of our congruent angles and sides and then write a congruency statement. Okay? So here we go. Angle A. What is that congruent to? W. Yep. Angle B is congruent to 2 goes with X, right? Angle X. Angle C is congruent to Y. And then lastly, D and Z go together. Perfect. So we checked all of our angles. Now you got to match up all your sides. Okay, I'm just going to start in the same spot. AB, so segment AB is congruent to WX. BC, XY, Again, I know it's kind of a lot of writing. It seems maybe kind of redundant, but this is the definition of a congruent polygon. And then again, I'll teach you shortcuts so it's not so much like this. So once you've listed out all your sides and angles, we can write our congruency statement. Since we don't have triangles, you can just say polygon. So you're going to say polygon. I'm just going to go in order A, B, C, D. Is congruent to polygon. And you just have to match the order. So what matches A?
W.
W. B matches X. C matches Y. Z. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys try the next one, get a head start on me, and I'll catch up to you. So we just have to look at their measures. Which one goes together? So like, which one has the same measure? As long as your letters match up, the order doesn't, like how I did my order doesn't matter to yours, as long as the same letters kind of line up. And since it's a triangle, you can use that triangle symbol instead of writing out polygon on the bottom for the congruent statement. So your first part of your homework will be like this, just listing out the sides and the angles, and then the next part will be looking for missing measures, okay? So that's what the next page is about. All right, folks, so this is that congruent statement, right? So this is telling us what part goes with what part. So we're told we have two congruent triangles, and we want to find X and Y. Which one do you guys want to find first? I'd probably find Y first too, right? Because I don't have an X here, whereas this one has both variables, so it's probably easier to find Y. Okay, so if I look, angle F matches what angle up here?
B.
Right, you guys see how they're in the same spots right there, so that's how I know. So I'm going to just write that right here. Angle B is congruent to angle F, just so I know how I got where I did, okay? So now we can write our equation. 8y minus 5 is equal to 99. That's pretty easy to solve, right? Just add the 5 over. 13? Is it 13? I think it's 13. Okay, so if y is 13, does anyone have a plan for us to find x? Yeah, we'll have to plug it in, but that's okay. So I'd probably have to use the side FE. What does FE match? BC, right? So here's FE, there's BC, so they're in the same spot. Perfect. FE is equal to BC. So I'm going to have 2, but I'm not going to put y there. I'm going to put y equals. We don't have a decimal, that's okay. I know we're not really used to seeing decimals a lot in our work, but we'll get some decimals today, not a big deal. What'd you guys get for x?
12.4.
I agree. 12.4. Does that make sense for everybody? Okay, let's try another one, see what we can match up together. Okay, what do you guys want to find first, x or y? Y? Find y. Okay, so if we look here, RS, what is RS congruent to?
TV.
TV, right? The first 2 letters in both? So now I can write my equation pretty easily, right? So let's see here, 2y minus 1 equals 24. Another decimal, that's okay though. What'd you guys get?
12.5.
Yep, 12.5. Perfect. How are you going to find x? We know what angle T is congruent to?
R.
Right, but I don't know what angle R is, so that's a problem.
So it's 70 plus 90 minus 20.
So that's kind of from yesterday, right? You know that all 3 of these angles have to add to 180. So what's 180 minus 90 minus 78? 12. So if angle R is 12, so is angle T because they're congruent. Good work, folks. Okay, this next slide's not in your notes, but let's just think about this. If you were given this picture here, can you make any assumptions about angle A and D? Why? Yeah, I think we all kind of thinking the same thing. C is congruent to F. B is congruent to E. So wouldn't it make sense that they have to be equal?
Yeah.
And you could subtract away from 180 and you get the same number, right? So what you just showed there, you guys, is the third angle theorem. So if you have 2 pairs of congruent angles, by default, the third angle is also congruent. The third pair of angles. Okay? This part should be in your notes though now, I think, right? So if we wanted to fill in that blank there, if angle C is congruent to angle K and angle B is congruent to angle J, what would be my next part here? Yes, angle A is congruent to angle L. That's it. So we'll see some proofs this chapter, but I think they're easier than the ones that you were doing before, and I give you kind of training wheels at first before I completely let you loose. Like today, we're just filling in the reason, so it's nothing crazy. We just kind of have to be detectives and figure out what's our reasoning, right? So a lot of information is given to us here, and our goal is to show that these 2 triangles are congruent. My first question to you is, do you even see 2 triangles in that picture? You see 2 different ones? We have this guy right here, on the left side and the guy on the right. Do you guys see the two different ones? Now we want to show that they are congruent. So in order to do that, we have to show all three pairs of angles are the same and all three pairs of sides are the same. So it was kind of nice. They marked all of our congruent markings on our picture for us. That won't always be the case, but let's see what we can do here, okay? So what's our reason for number 1? Why is DE congruent to
Given.
GE and DF congruent to GF? That is given. Yep. It's kind of a freebie. We knew that. And it gets kind of weird. Why is EF congruent to EF? You guys remember that one?
Property.
Reflexive, right? The same thing is equal to itself. Like when you look in the mirror, you see yourself. So you would just say reflexive property. And then I'm going to put a little marking in my triangle. Okay, why is angle D congruent to angle G and angle DEF congruent? Yeah, do you guys see what's the other part of your given that we didn't use? Given. So now, why is our last pair of angles congruent? Not symmetric.
Substitution.
So that's one pair of angles. Here's two pair of angles congruent. Why would our third pair be congruent?
Transitive.
Third angles.
Third angles here, right? Is that what we just said, right? By default, that last pair of angles would have to be congruent. So now we can say those triangles are congruent by definition of congruent triangles. That's your last reason. Definition of congruent triangles. You guys want to try the next one on your own or just do it together? You have one left. You want to try to figure it out on your own for a little bit? I'll give you 2 minutes. Just see what you can do in 2 minutes, then we'll go over it, okay? In 2 minutes, we'll go over it. Getting stuff, look at your picture. Your pictures will be more important this chapter than they were in last chapter. It'll kind of make sense why they are what they are. Okay, what did you guys put for 1? Yes, good. Given. Now, why is angle JLK congruent to angle PLM? This guy and this guy. Why are those congruent?
Third angle here.
Kind of reflects. But what kind of angles are those, you guys?
Vertical.
And what do you know about vertical angles? They're always the same. So that's just vertical angles. Yep. Vertical angles. Anyone get that one? Think about it. Yep, vertical angles, and I'm gonna put congruent just so we remember. Okay, let's see here. LK is congruent to LM. So this guy is congruent to this guy.
Is that definition of angle bisector?
So close. Not angle bisector, but just bisector is segment bisector because it's a segment. Yep. I took this segment and I cut it in half. So if they use the word bisect right there, you guys, you're going to use definition of a bisector. If they use midpoint, you'd use a midpoint somewhere. That's very good. Definition of segment bisector. Okay, why is angle K congruent to angle M? I heard it. Third angles theorem, right? Two angles are already congruent, so by default, the other guys are. And then our last reason, why are they congruent? Congruent triangles. Whew, that was good stuff, you guys.